Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy January 26th. It's been a kind of a quiet week and an intense week at the same time. So, we want to talk about that today. So, what I want to do is talk about, are you speeding up? Are you stalling out? What are you noticing with these solar flare energies, with the systems within yourself, right? And what are we going to be able to do about that, right? So, let me just start first with welcoming you. I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for watching this live. Thank you for putting some chats in there. Although I don't really watch them, I can't really read them and talk at the same time. It's really funny. And for putting the comments down below. And by all means, subscribe and follow so that I know that you'll get these messages when I go live. So thank you. So let's go to the solar flares. It's been rather, what I would say, stable, boring compared to last time, but sort of at the same time. So here's the spaceweather.com. This was last Sunday. We were at an M2. Then we went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we had 4 days over this last week that we were in M's. And the highest that they got was an M3.3. And the lowest that it got was a C, let's see, C3. So we've been hanging out in that tap, 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 tap of the C's, and a little bit of shaking, a lot of shaking that goes on with the M classes, right? So we've had, just to give you an example, it hasn't been like there's just been one. In the last 24 hours, we've had 7 C class. So it's tap, 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 tap. So you can count on the fact that every 3.5 hours, or sort of spread that out, you're getting a lot of messages to sort of, what are you thinking? What's going on? What's working for you? What are you supposed to be paying attention to, right? And there's also been some high X-ray levels and unsettled geomagnetic energy. So it's been a bit bumpy. It's been creating some unsettledness in each of us, and it's keeping our attention and continuing us moving along. So before I get into the sun, I want to talk about last night, and you'll probably see it again tonight. We had all of the planets lining up. So from the far side, I could see Venus and Saturn together, and then Jupiter, and then Mars. And it was just, and the moon, of course, is on its new moon phase. So it wasn't coming up. So it would have been over in that section, or it's still in that alignment. What that means to me is that the sun changing energies and the adaption into these planets is saying that they're lining up to sort of put a very intense bit of frequency and energy onto us. So it's just what we need a little bit more, right? So the sun, according to Carrie Kay, who I'm starting to just love her grounded wisdom out of South Africa. She's amazing. She said that the sun is sending photons all the time with data. We know that. We've talked about that. We've had videos on the photon energies, right? And it's not just sending it to Earth, it's sending it to all of the planets within our galaxy. And these photons have information in them. They also have an enormous amount of frequencies and upgrades. So they're holding codes, they're encoding us, they're hitting our cellular structure, and they're causing us a reaction or a response in our bodies and in our fields. Makes sense, right? That we are having a physical and I like Claudia's, like, whirling and calming at the same time as these frequencies are coming in, because they're stirring up our memories. They're accessing our DNA, and they're creating our self wisdoms. So all of this is going on with these flares. And again, remember, we are in the year of peaking these flares, not calming them down. So these are going to build. So when our bodies are triggered, whether it is our physical symptoms or our senses, we go into fight or flight or freeze, right? And so we either, clam up and go like, I just need it to go away, which it isn't going to go away because we're being frequency upgraded as a human population. Or we can freeze, which is, I'm stalling out, I don't know what to do. I'm not asking any questions, and I'm not doing any activity. Both of these, freeze and flight, comprise about 90% of the population. And then there's that 10% that says, "Oh hell no, I'm going to fight this, or I'm going to meet it and match it with what am I noticing, what am I seeing, what am I doing?" And it's my hope that I'm talking to that 10%, or that portion of the 90% that's moving into 10%, that maybe the 10, 15, 20%, maybe we grow that, right? Where we're noticing that we have lots of symptoms, exhausted adrenals, our bodies are over pumping cortisol into it. And I did an episode last week on just the cortisol overwhelm alone. So just know that that's there, right? And I found this interesting thing. It went around on both X and on Instagram. And in 2021, there was a paper out of an Israeli medical psychiatric school, sorry, by Tanvia Kara, who said that exposure to superior intelligence activates our threat detection system in our brain, right? Our amygdala lights up when we encounter someone who's visibly smarter than us, and we will respond with as if there's a physical threat. Now, I liked knowing that, because what it tells me is that there are some people that when we interact with them, they might have their body might hold a lot more of these intelligences. Our eyes are direct. You notice this about me. My voice is very even. My words come in at both from claircognizance. I know what to say, and I have a sight in my head of what it is I want to be able to pass on to you. So that directness can be reviewed as a level of intelligence that we are seeing in other people around us. We are seeing it in ourselves, and what it does is it makes some people feel daunted or overwhelmed or insecure, and they step back because they actually feel physical discomfort or a physical threat when someone shows up with that much presence in them. It makes sense that that's also going to activate that fight or flight or freeze, right? So I think the third thing there, or the thing I want to keep talking about when we are triggering in our bodies, and when we have this research that says our amygdala is going to go like, whoa, 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 something's not okay, I need to back off, right? Is that anything that's new and unusual, any kind of deeper integration, any kind of deeper intelligences that are showing up are going to bring this reaction within yourself and your reaction to others. It makes sense. So we're having this action reaction, push away, curl up, step forward. We're in this sort of yo-yo up and down, dipping into high clarity and low isolation all the time. And that's going to be our new norm, because we're getting used to these new skills we have in our bodies and in our fields, right? So as we're shifting, our cells are responding to these sun photons, these flares, and they're creating reactivity in our cells, and they're creating reactivity in others. People step in and people step away. When I have been talking over and over again that people will step away, you will lose people. It's not because they think you're wrong or bad. It's that they can't be in that frequency, and it causes them discomfort, or they can't leave their safety zone. And there are many of us who are kind of like, what's happening next? Where are we going? Because these frequencies are quantum, and they're regularly hitting us via the flares, and they are redoing our brain codes. They're matching the way we access information and the way we bring it into our field, right? And how we put our vibration out. So we're reshaping our lens, we're reshaping our lifestyles, we're reshaping everything. How can we not? We have so much frequency coming in. And so, yeah, the sun and the moon and the planets, they are all working with us, because we are in times of change, huge times of change. Now, if you like change, this is pretty exciting. You can see my face. I love change. I love being able to watch it and then define it and bring it to you. So, bring change on. It's fun for me. Maybe not for you. It's an individual process. So I listen to Magenta Pixie. I like the way that she brings information in from the nine. She channels information, and she's on YouTube. And she calls this time the quickening, fast paced movement that is unique to each individual. We are in a quickening, we are in a speeding up. We are, and I don't know if you've noticed that you can sort of look back and go, whoa, yeah, it's the 26th. Where did January go? And how many things have happened, over these last 26, 27, 28 days where we're just thinking, what else is coming down the track, right? And so this is when our light structure is changing. This is when the photons and the photonic awareness is building. And this is where we're creating these new brain pathways. It makes sense. And so, Magenta does this, and then Lee Harris, separate. I don't even know that they've ever done any work together. Lee Harris did his 2025 energy report, and he said that the 2025 is propulsive. It is surprising. It is fast. Things that things can appear disastrous or distressing and can change very quickly into high energies or something else. So they come up, they hit you, they move past, and the whole year is going to be a lot of change, adjustments, clarity, and refocusing. That makes sense. And that's what we've been, sort of waiting. I guess the second half or the last quarter of 2024 felt like this was already starting. The example I've used before is that, like in the beginning of 2024, maybe up to September-ish, it was as if I all of a sudden identified that there's a portal or there's a door, that there's something that is there that is different, right? And then in that September, October, November, December, it was like there's actually a physical door. How do you turn the handle? How do you open it up? And then it was like on December 30th, that door just blew open and all of this momentum is taking us forward. So we understand this and we're preparing our bodies and our lifestyles as best as we can, knowing that we've been very solidly entrenched in the lifestyles we've created and that these huge shifts are coming. Makes sense, right? Huge. I think I dropped a, okay, I did drop a card. Okay. So we are birthing our inner and often unknown selves. We're bringing something forward into our daily living, and this is going to cause changes and corrections and growth and confusion and excitement. And I love being able to have this platform and talk to you about this. So I have 6 tips for you. And before I go into the tips, what I want to do is do some housekeeping, and I'm going to cough. So I have no idea where I have a tissue. Just a minute. I can feel it coming. Thank you. Okay. We meet every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So Tuesday the 28th. You can register for this um, down in the comments or the description, if you just want to come and check it out. Or you can join my Patreon, and for $11 a month, you can access that discussion group every single Tuesday. And also have the articles that I'm actually pulling this information from posted. So the other thing is that I do deep dive tarot readings. I'm not your normal tarot reader. I'm the one who says, like, so what do you want me to know right now? And then we just unpack, and we use 3 cards and 3 decks, and we just build this information. And I think the other thing that I'd like to remind you of is that I do deep integration series of coaching. So we meet, once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we just explore, what are you experiencing? What do you need as far as support? How are you going to be able to take care of yourself, right? So that's just the plug for me and my services, and if I can be of service, I would love to. Okay, so tip number 1, relax. We have been going over all of this stuff for the last year. All of 2024 was the increasing energies of the solar flares and what the symptoms are and what we can do to take care of ourselves. And we've been identifying, and noticing and feeling and correcting that external flare information with our internal reactions, right? So we've got this. We know how to do this. So just relax, right? Now, I thought this is probably the best way to describe what we're going through. This is the night of fire, and the night is just like shoom, going straight at it. Now, what I like about this card is that one sentence that comes with this through the Osho is one can't afford to be even a little bit absent, because when you're on a trapeze and you've got three people in tandem and you're going to let go of one and catch the other, it just means that you want to stay present. So when I see this one, it says be in action, but be present. Be able to adapt to it, because as this sun energy is coming in, it's just moving us into all sorts of acceptance. So we have the sun and and the world, and both of these are what I like. Look at the uh, geometry. I can't even talk today. Shapes and all the swirls going on. I think it's really amazing. Now, um, relax, right? So the other thing is, it's very interesting. These are the three nines that I found. Now this is the nine in the Osho, nine of wands in the Osho, and it's like I can't even access my flame, my fire, because I have so many mechanisms, so much mental distraction around me that I can't even think. Look at the face on this character, right? And then when you go over to light seers, it's like I'm free of that, and I'm going to hold this fire and I'm going to wait to see what's coming in, which I love. And then when I go to the Roig deck, it's like, man, it's just coming in and it's blowing apart some things. So this is where we are right now with these flares. So just relax and know that this is coming, right? Number two, remove, quiet, address your fears, right? Because what we want to do is if your body is tense and your head is down, then you suffer and you feel helpless, you feel like a victim, you feel overwhelmed, and you're in the constant bump, bump, bump. Something's happening to me, and the fear is up. If your head is up and you're paying attention, and your willpower off of the right shoulder, and your intuitive knowing off of the left shoulder. Deborah on the tree of life has said over the on the right shoulder is Deborah, on the left shoulder is his head, is like willpower and intuition, or information and guidance coming into you across the veil, both of these. So when you put your head up and your energy system is open, then it is a glorious ride. So the example I would use is that I had the opportunity to ride up going to the Sun Road in Montana in July on the back of a motorcycle with my camera, and I just sort of sat back against the bar, and I just was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the cliff goes down hundreds and hundreds of feet down on one side, and there's cars coming on the other side. Now I could have kept my head down and said, I can't do this, it's really scary, or I could say, I trust this process and I'm going to enjoy all of this. So that was what I would say, is that remove the fear from your body, right? Number three, adapt and renegotiate. Because when things move fast, we have to track a lot of things. We have a lot of balls in the air, and it's not easy to take care of ourselves when all of this is happening, right? So I just watched Saturday Night on Netflix, which is the behind the scenes of the very first Saturday Night Live episode, and it was chaos and it was catastrophe, and like how anyone ever got to the point where that camera went on, and they ended the show right when after the first bit, because it wasn't about the bits, it was about this chaos that happened behind it. Yet I did notice that, like as in everything, that last 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 2 minutes before it starts, everything just goes. So this is where we adapt and we renegotiate, knowing we're juggling a lot of things and we're juggling a lot of energy. So we decide, we choose, we reschedule, we stop, we go forward. We stay in our curiosity in the flow, right? Number four, we deepen our own curiosity, because what am I learning about myself? What skills and gifts are coming online? What am I seeing? And so what I brought were the queens in the light seers deck, because if you look at them, they are playing in each of the elements with what they are, what's in front of them. And so when we deepen our curiosity, what am I enjoying? What am I struggling with? What am I playing with? What, how do who do I find to talk to about this so that I have more people, more information, and more resources, right? So, what we're doing is we're playing with all of this. So, deepen your curiosity and stay in curiosity. Number five, trust and support. Trust this process. It's global, it's galactic, it's not individual. All of us are going through it at the same time. So we support our body, we support our emotions, we take care of the symptoms when they come up, like I'm dehydrated, I need to change my eating habits, I need to change my sleeping habits, maybe I don't use alcohol anymore. Find out what it is that your body's asking you to do, and you um, recalibrate, right? And you collaborate with others and you talk to them about this, like, this is working for me. This is so I have this circle of friends, and some of them are international, some of them are national, and some of them are local. And we just are talking and sharing and passing tidbits along all the time. It's amazing. Okay. And number six, of course, have compassion. Have compassion, because as this pace speeds up, it's going to be incredibly difficult. So, you take your warrior pose and you just hold it. And she's got wings on the back of her body. You can see these huge, glorious wings coming out here and here, right? Because some of us are at the front of this smiling and going, this is what I've been waiting for 20 years or my whole lifetime. And others are in pain and wanting this to stop. And all of us are on a different journey doing something at our own pace. And we want to be able to have such deep compassion for what their experience is, for ourselves and for everybody involved. So thank you. Thank you for joining in today. Please, again, like and share. And by all means, put a comment down, because I always read them on Monday morning and write back. You take care, and I will see you either Tuesday at discussion or next Sunday. Bye.